So sad. Hi, my special ones. Today I want to talk about cuss words versus hate speech. So I was having a conversation with somebody a few days ago, and then she said to me, "I can never tolerate from anybody who calls me Mbeke. Anybody who calls me Mbeke, I'll be so mad at the person because what the person is saying is I'm a local girl. You know the saying, Mbeke feeling funky." And that's when it occurred to me that a lot of words due to hate speech become cuss words when, if you really look at the words for what they actually mean from their origin and etymology being the origin of words, these words are actually not derogatory or insulting at all. Mbeke is an Igbo name. It's typically given to a woman who's born on Eke Day. We have 4 market days in Igbo: Eke, Nkwo, Ore, and Afo. But because due to hate speech, people have a saying of Mbeke feeling funky, which means that a local girl who comes to the city and is trying to adapt, and somebody actually thinks that Mbeke is a cuss word. And then it got me thinking even further that this hate speech that turns ordinary words to cuss words is more common amongst words that refer to the female gender, and it rarely happens to words that refer to the male gender. And I actually really thought about it. I'll give you an example. Drama queen. Drama and queen. 2 very beautiful words. You put them together, it means somebody who's always erratic and overacting. Baby mama. Baby and mama, mother. 2 beautiful words. You put them together and it means the mother of a bastard, which is an illegitimate child. You have cougar, a very wonderful, beautiful animal of the animal kingdom, which people have now used to refer to women dating younger men. Meanwhile, men dating younger women is so commonplace. You have single mother, like baby mama. Bitch, which all it means is a female dog, has become a cuss word for women. Witch is, when we say the word witch, we think about some evil woman in the forest trying to kill somebody. But when we think about the word wizard, we don't think about an evil man. We think about Harry Potter doing wonderful magic. You know what I mean? Mbeke, I've already given that example. Now, the example baby mama, which people say is a derogatory word, why doesn't baby papa have that derogatory intonation? Same for drama queen. Drama king has no such inference. And I think it is because men disallow that. Men are not raised to sit back and always want to play the victim and always feel sorry for themselves. No, men believe that attack is the best form of defense, and when they feel like a narrative is not going their way, they work extra hard to change it. A good example is bitch. You call a woman a bitch, she's going to be so offended. Meanwhile, all it means is just a female dog. And I think, but if you call it, but men call themselves, oh, my dog, or, Snoop Dogg, or dog. And men, and even though we women say all men are dogs in a derogatory way, men reclaim the word dog and hail themselves with it, and it's not even something you can even use to insult a man anymore. If you call a man a dog, he's just gonna laugh and be like, "Yo, big dog, the big dog," or he's just gonna try and make it cool, because narratives are nothing but stories. Unless if the original etymology of the word is a cuss word, like fuck, where even from the origin of the word, that's what it means. Most other words are not really cuss words. They just take on that narrative due to hate speech. I was watching a video where a white teacher separated the kids into brown eyes and blue eyes and told the blue-eyed people they were superior. And one of the kids came up to him after recess and was like, "They called me brown eyes," and he was crying. And just like that, because of the story the teacher had told them, brown eyes automatically became an insult. Meanwhile, to call somebody brown eyes, there's nothing to it. I have dark brown eyes, you know what I mean? If somebody called me brown eyes, I wouldn't feel bad. But if I was that child who had been indoctrinated and told brown-eyed people are inferior, then brown eyes becomes an insult. And like I just said, a good example is bitch and dog. Men have reclaimed the word dog. Women have not reclaimed the word bitch. There's a woman who wrote this book of why men marry bitches. Now that's an example of how you reclaim a narrative. There's also a very successful South African movie called Baby Mama, which they try to soften the word, because baby mama is just a slang that started in Jamaica to refer to a woman who is not in a relationship with the father of her child, as opposed to a married woman or a widow. And it just took on a very negative meaning. Meanwhile, what's wrong with, you know, having a baby and you guys are not in a relationship? Another one that really hurts me, which is also in line with Ngbeke, is how people's names take on negative meanings because of the stories. For example, musicians like Eminem and Beyonce have made Becky mean the other woman. So now if your name is Becky, like, ooh, Becky with the good hair or something. And I don't think this is fair to people who are called Becky. Something similar to that is happening now with the word Karen, where Karen is becoming a synonym for racist, and I don't think that's nice, because Karen is, people bear that name. It's the same thing that's happened to Ngbeke over the years. Ngbeke is not a cuss word, it's actually a name that people bear, you know. So I think we need to be very careful about the stories we tell around words that give them these colored meanings. Because going back to the bitch and the dog example, we proudly call football players super eagles. In America, you have the Seattle Seahawks, you have the Miami Dolphins, you know. There are schools that are called the Wise Owl, which are meant for people of above average IQ. Somebody who runs very fast, if you're like, you are a cheater, the person wouldn't be offended, you know what I mean? Or people in the ballet world who call themselves swans. These are all animals, and animals are respected members of this earth. So I don't see why the name of an animal should be seen as a cuss word, which is why I do not agree with the whole cougar and bitch narrative. It's not a cuss word. Honestly, if somebody called me a bitch or a cougar, I think it would just slide off my back, because I don't even think I would be offended, because I don't even see why I should be offended, because you trying to insult me, calling me a cougar, you have no idea what you're talking about, you know. I've already said we call players super eagles. Everybody's proud. Oh, eagles, eagles, eagles. You know, we have them on our coat of arms. Are you saying that the Nigerian coat of arms with the eagle is an insult to every Nigerian, you know? So this whole hate speech narrative of turning animal names to insults, I just think it is absolutely ridiculous. And I think the time has come for us to reclaim these words and for us to really understand that hate speech is a form of brainwashing. So if somebody keeps on telling you, for example, red makes you look fat, and then you put on red, I'm like, oh, lady in red, you'll be mad, because you think I was calling you fat, but I wasn't. So it's very important to remove the lens of these things and just allow these words be, and stop taking offense and stop using turning innocent words to insult, like in the case of brown eyes. The one that really hurts me is with these names of Karen and Becky and Ngbeke, because people bear these names, and how do you expect them to feel? You know, so let's always use a lens of sympathy to view these things, and also let us also rethink what we think we know, because a lot of the times we get indoctrinated through hate speech, and we go about thinking that, oh yes, that thing is bad, why are you calling me a bitch? But if you really just step back for a second and remove the brainwashing of the hate speech and look at it for what it really is, we realize that a lot of things are not as bad as people say they are. I know during the war for capitalism, Americans made the word communist be a bad word that people were thrown in jail for, but there's nothing wrong with it, having a communist economic leaning. Everybody's free to choose the economic style that they want for themselves and their country. So that's my so said. So be careful about these words. Understand the difference between a cuss word and being brainwashed via hate speech. Don't ever forget to practice your empathy. Always practice your empathy. Practice your empathy so much that it becomes second nature to you, that you approach every situation with an open mind and understanding. And always remember that I love you, my special ones.